Atomfall is a pretty great Game Pass game, and I'm going to tell you why in this video. The game throws you right into the world. It doesn't really tell you where to go, you just wander off, and I actually really like that. Of course, with my luck, I ran into a robot and a small army. The combat in the game isn't great, but it isn't bad either. A lot of the time, it's best just to sneak past enemies. When you do engage in combat, the AI isn't very smart, and there are ways of funneling them for easy pickings. The locations are probably the highlight for me. Like, look at this druid cave, it's beautiful. The enemies in here put up a tough fight. I was actually stuck in this area for a while, basically going around hunting all the druids I could find. Eventually, I also stumbled onto a metal detector, and you can find some pretty sweet loot with it, kind of like in Fable 2 with your dog. Before we go too far, if you enjoy these kinds of breakdowns, please subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you. Sadly, the game crashed on me a few times, and sometimes the audio would just cut out and not come back, even after reloading, forcing me to restart the application. There was an update recently, and the game didn't crash or have any audio problems after that, so maybe that fixed it. But the world is genuinely beautiful. It's not huge, but it's incredibly dense. You're constantly stumbling into cool things. You'll also run into a few NPCs, and they're pretty interesting to listen to. They often give you bunker locations or hints. The trading system is also unique. There's no money, you trade items, and I like that a lot. At some points, I did get very lost and would accidentally stumble onto something important. Eventually, I started doing it the right way, reading leads, looking at points of interest on the map, and placing markers. It's also always worth exhausting NPC dialogue for leads. Finding new weapons felt awesome. Sure, you don't have much ammo, but it makes you feel stronger and safer when you're carrying a new gun. Leveling up is pretty slow, and you'll need to find a lot of stims for the more important upgrades like health, which is what I went for first. The bow was also really fun to use. It's stealthy, and when you're in the woods, there's no shortage of arrows. Since ammo is pretty limited, I ended up relying on the bow a lot, and when I did find ammo, the poor druids didn't stand a chance. There are a lot of things that want to kill you, from intimidating robots to smaller enemies like rats or even crows. I've actually been killed by crows. They third-party me after a fight. Some enemies have more armor and take a bit more to kill, and again, their AI isn't the best. I mean, watch this. Looting reminds me more of The Last of Us or Metro Exodus. You pick up scrap, cloth, alcohol, and craft things like bandages, explosives, or other consumables. One really cool feature in the game is that you can kill any NPC. Traders also have unique inventories and offer different things. Bunkers are great for finding weapons, blueprints, leads, and probably most importantly, stims for upgrading yourself. The Feral, which are basically glowing ghouls from Fallout, are interesting enemies. It's best to take them out with the bow, they can mess you up real quick. There are also thralls, they look sick but are really tough. There was this one section that felt straight out of Resident Evil, running around a lab low on ammo, doing whatever I could to take out these thralls. Explosive barrels helped a lot, and I really enjoyed the intensity of it. In the same place, I found a key that opened a door under a church in the village. There, I met someone who gave me something to help with the toxic blue stuff, and a keycard to go deeper into the medical wing where I fought the thralls. You'll also run into NPCs you've met before in new locations, usually after you've done something meaningful. You get more skills to upgrade by finding manuals. Eventually, you can even upgrade your weapons by combining two of the same. It's a cool system. Some skills can be found, bought, unlocked through speech, or murder. Enemy damage is also handled pretty well. They react differently depending on the type of damage. It's nothing mind-blowing, but a nice touch. One of my favorite moments, I took a bunch of painkillers and stormed a prison because I heard someone important was locked up. I fought my way to the bottom, freed them and all of the other prisoners. Sadly, I didn't kill the robot in time and it took out a few of them. but the rest of us fought our way out of the prison. That part was awesome. Later, in the village, I found a hidden tunnel that popped out near a trader, and I was able to trade for a skill book from him. It's really cool. There are so many hidden tunnels or locations, and because the map is small, they link up or are very close to each other, so you're always discovering new locations and secrets. Powering up parts of the interchange always feels super rewarding, like you're actually making real progress. The whole place lights up, and suddenly you see how massive it really is. I'm not going to go too deep into story stuff though, I'm keeping this video pretty light on that. What's cool is that a lot of us will probably end up with completely different stories or endings depending on who we talk to and what choices we make. Some parts were really annoying, like when I died while talking to an NPC and couldn't do anything about it, or when a robot uses its flamethrower and burns you through a wall. Eventually, combat really flows well and you start taking enemies out with ease.
Hang on, it's not that bad. You bugger.
There are a few different endings. I went pretty far with certain NPCs, and sometimes siding with one meant killing another. At least, that's what happened in my case. I really liked the ending, once everything started coming together and I learned what Oberon really is. I'm curious, for those of you who have finished it, what ending did you get? One cool mechanic I forgot to talk about is your heartbeat. The higher it is, the less effective you become, your aim gets worse, and you start slipping up in tense moments. It adds a lot of pressure during combat and makes you think twice about charging in. So, how long is Atomfall? For me, it took around 14 hours to finish, and that's without doing everything. I left a few things untouched for a second playthrough. I'll probably try it on the hardest difficulty next time. If you're aiming for 100%, I could easily see it going over 20 hours. That said, there were definitely some issues: bugs, random crashes, audio cutting out, and the AI in combat isn't great. Enemies also respawn way too quickly in some areas, which gets frustrating when you're trying to explore. The update helped a bit, but it still has a few rough edges. For those reasons, I personally wouldn't pay full price for it, but as a Game Pass title, it's absolutely worth checking out, especially if you're into post-apocalyptic worlds. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.